Hi. Hello.
Hello.
We were both like bouncing our heads to that intro. So I feel really good because I totally chose that song at random. I was like, I like right before this podcast started, Rachel sent me a really great website to download royalty-free music from, and I didn't do that. I just went to the YouTube music library.
That also works.
You know, I did my best. I went to the library. I checked out my MP3s, and here we are, the first episode of Pascal Pod.
Whee!
I'm Katrina Dennis, also known as Katrina.
And I am Rachel Leishman, also known as Rachel.
You know what? I love your branding. It's solid. It's honest.
It's just, my father's Scottish ass last name.
I'm very clumsy, and my friends say, "Oh, Katrina," all the time, and so that's how it caught on like 10 years ago.
That's so cute.
Thank you. I don't tell that story very often because it's kind of embarrassing.
And listen, I'm a klutz, and now my cat's klutz, so like I get it, but it's cute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, welcome to our show, which is also very cute, where every once in a while we run down Pedro Pascal's filmography.
Yes, we do, because I like watching filmographies, and I was working through Pedro Pascal's, and I said, why am I just doing this and not talking about them? And so here we are.
Yes, yeah, this all started as a random DM exchange, and I'm so glad it did, because I needed another reason to go through some more Pedro Pascal movies outside of the fact that, like, I just like watching Pedro Pascal movies, so... Yeah. So I guess let's talk a little bit about us and then go into all of the wacky, wonderful things we have going on. Hey, Rachel, what's your deal?
What's my deal? Well, I'm an associate editor from the Mary Sue, and I write articles about nerdy things. And that includes The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
It includes all of the Marvel shows. And lots of other things, but that's pretty much my deal. I guess I'm a writer. That's what you would call that. I'm just a writer. That's the long way of saying that. Yeah. That's the long way of saying I'm a writer. And I like movies. So and I like Pedro Pascal. So
coincidentally, that's also where I am.
I was just saying, did you know what's your deal?
You know, my deal is also that I'm a writer. I write screenplays and TV, and I used to write a bunch of like movie journalism-y stuff. And nowadays I work at this nice little gaming company called MWM Interactive, and we make video games and publish them, and it's so exciting. And then when I'm not at work, I'm at home reading or doing something productive, but really I'm just watching movies about Pedro Pascal. So very exciting. And I'm also excited to be doing a show centered entirely around another Chilean American person.
I was gonna say, I was like, because that's so cute.
Yeah, Pedro and I come from the same motherland, so I'm very hype, and it's just been like, it's so cool to have been like I came in fairly late on the Pedro train. I didn't show up and start watching movies with him until like after Game of Thrones, and when he was over in Martell, and I was like, oh my god, a Chilean actor. I hope he gets to be in Star Wars someday.
You predicted it?
I hoped with all of my heart, and it happened. And I feel like a bunch of other people were hoping that too. And now he's leading a Star Wars show. So
the best. I'll say it. I love The Mandalorian most of all, and I love Star Wars, and I will proudly say that is my favorite Star Wars property.
Yeah, I mean, I really love the Mandalorian. I mean, I would
really love the man.
I love the Mando, the Mando man. I'm really together this first episode. I'm very excited. Yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan, and like I remember like going to the Mandalorian panel and just like losing my mind the moment he came out on stage. It's this weird like welling pride in my chest, and it's also just like, oh, I'm so happy this really good actor is in my favorite franchise of all time. So yeah, and they have yet to disappoint me on that show. So honestly, I love it.
It's the best. See, I can't remember what year Graceland came out, because Graceland is like my weird, but I didn't watch that for him. I watched it for Aaron Devane. I will admit that, because I'm a theater kid. But I knew who he was because of Oberon as well. But I don't want to. I guess I'm gonna get into Game of Thrones spoilers. Oh well. Robb Stark is my favorite character. I knew what happened to Robb Stark. I was like, everyone prepared me. They're like, beware, your favorite character is gonna die. And I was like, okay, thanks everybody. Yeah. Watched him die. Was like, that sucks. I love Robb. Waited to watch the like last episode of the 3rd season. Then the 4th season started. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna watch the episode. Get into the 4th season. 4th season started. Oberon Martell walked out. I was like, oh, who's that? I like that. I'm gonna watch him. Went into school the next day because I was in college and we had this like computer lab, and the guy, some dude, walks in. I was talking about Oberon Martell, and he goes, "Talking about Game of Thrones?" I was like, "Yeah, I like Oberon Martell. I'm looking up this guy," and he goes, "I wouldn't like Oberon Martell," and I was like, "Why?" He proceeded to tell me what happens, so I just watched the whole season except for that episode, and then just recently went back from the beginning and watched it again. Like took a year, like 3 years off, because I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not watching another character die, especially like that.
I am definitely the type of person who picks characters that, like, you know, I just feel like I have the kiss of death. So like all of my faves die, and most of them die in really ridiculous ways. And Pedro has a knack for that. Like if he's not the main character of the show, and sometimes when he is, like, he always dies, or he used to always die, until I would say this movie that we're going to talk about later.
I thought he was. I hands out thought he was going to die.
I thought he was going to die too.
The first time I watched this movie, me and my friend Hannah watched it together, and it's such like a movie that her and I. Like, yeah, this movie rules. And so, like, I remember we watched it together, like, the weekend it came out. I went to her apartment because that's when you could go places. And we watched this movie, and, like, the whole time we were like, oh, Pedro's dead. Like, he's hands down, Pedro Pascal is going to die. And sure enough, we were wrong.
Yes, it was such a delightful. So, I mean, I hate to call it a delightful surprise because somebody else died.
Delightful surprise, he survived.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I was like, okay, I mentally and like emotionally prepared myself for this, but then it was like, oh, Ben Affleck died. Oh well. So we'll get to that in a sec.
Ben Affleck.
Let me just, you know. Oh boy. Well, at least it wasn't Pedro. So
the first time in forever.
I know, it was such a miracle. And you know what? I just feel like that was a sign where, like, okay, finally, for a couple projects, he's not going to die or end up in a wood chipper or get his eyes exploded, or, you know, I know he probably finds that really fun, but I don't. So.
Listen, the wood chipper is the reason I have a job. So thank you to the wood chipper.
Yeah, I mean, I can't complain. Really big Kingsman fan here. I got my Statesman coin from
I want a Statesman movie so bad.
Yeah, me too.
Indiana Jones.
They are. I want a Statesman prequel.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Well, because Pedro Pascal is
still alive.
Well, yeah, like I like worked for some other site, but like my one friend knew I liked the Kingsman movies, and so she brought me along as like her plus one to a screening. And I had this like denim jacket that has all these patches and pins and stuff, and so my current boss was like looking at my jacket, and she was like, "Oh my god, I love your jacket. What's this? Oh my god, is that Captain Kirk?" I was like, "Yeah, it's actually Chris Pine's Captain Kirk, to be very specific, because I love Chris Pine." And she was like, "Oh my god, you love Chris Pine?" And we were screaming in Times Square about Christopher Whitelaw Pine after Kingsman Golden Circle, and then ended up working for the Mary Sue and all this stuff. And like 7 months into working at the Mary Sue, we were like, what movie did we meet during? And then I like realized it was Kingsman. It was like, great. I'm so glad I owe the Kingsman franchise my career.
I owe the Kingsman franchise a substantial amount. Like that's they are the reason I was able to interview Mark Hamill back in the day. That was like my first big interview, and this was of course before Golden Circle, which Pedro was in. But the first film was like my first big like audience hosting opportunity, and it was with Mark Hamill, which is like mind blowing. And so yeah, I've been like a super big Kingsman fan for like ever, and I got that special whiskey that came out during Comic-Con and all kinds of stuff. So the addition of Pedro is just like, oh, that makes it even better. I mean, I already like this. Like he does die in a wood chipper, but you know, look at how much good it's brought about.
The joy. Well, it was funny because my dad was, when I was at home, was convinced that he had seen it. I still don't believe he had. So me and my brother were like, my brother hadn't seen it. And he's like, all right, let's convince dad and we will watch. And my brother's 10 years older than me. So he's 40. And he was like, let's convince dad to watch Kingsman. Like, so a 30 and a 40-year-old were like, let's do this. Like, we're going to convince dad to watch the Kingsman movies like we were children. Meanwhile, my 50-year-old brother is not any better. But like, so the two of us were like, we're going to watch this movie. And the way I pitched it to my brother was, okay, you know how the Kingsman are James Bond? Well, the statesmen have whips, so they are just Indiana Jones. He goes, what? And I was like, just go with it. And he went, okay. Like that's my pitch for Kingsman Golden Circle.
Yeah, they are some of my favorite yeehaws. I gotta say, I love it. They can come yee my haw anytime. So.
Agreed.
This week there's been like some. I mean, I don't even think it was this week. I don't know what time is anymore. But very recently, The Mandalorian, which Pedro Pascal is the lead of, was nominated for some hella awards.
That was this week, surprisingly.
Oh, it was this week. Wonderful. I'm so happy. Yeah, and with that in mind, I just want to like go into what Pedro's up to this week, which we talked about before the show, like when we were planning it, but I've kind of forgotten because again, I don't know what time is. So Emmy noms.
Yes.
Amazing.
And a sort of a SAG nom they got for stunts.
Yes. And honestly,
yeah, technically two, because Wonder Woman also got stunts.
Yeah. Oh, look at Pedro being on all these casts that
no love for We Can Be Heroes. How dare they?
Oh, honestly. And that's the thing. That was like one of the funnest things he did this year. Like it really brightened up my mood. When was it last year when it came out? Yeah.
It was Christmas.
Christmas Day. What a busy Pedro Pascal filled day that was.
Listen, Pedro Pascal Christmas was the greatest Christmas of them all. Not really. It was a very sad Christmas, but that was like the highlight of Christmas.
That was the saving grace
for many people.
Absolutely. I just got to do. We did 2 movies with Pedro in that one day, and then I went back and watched some Mandalorian, and it just rounded it out so well. You know, so many emotions.
Yeah, there was a full weekend where because I'm slowly going through Narcos, I'm like cherishing it because I've decided that the love of my life is Javier Peña. But like, I was watching that. I had to watch Wonder Woman 1984 for work. I had to watch We Can Be Heroes because I was interviewing Robert Rodriguez. And I think I watched something else too. And then I watched like one thing that he was not in. And I just remember being like, this feels wrong. This feels incorrect.
Oh,
I gotta go back. Or no, it was Mandalorian. I watched Mandalorian because it was still airing. Because that was the Boba Fett episode.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Gosh, what a good season this was. And there's like so like not even just like the high amount of Pedro face in this season, but just his acting in general, I feel like really elevated in a way. Like I feel like he came into that character. He really started like understanding who Mando was I'm sure he already understood that because he's a fantastic actor, but it really felt like he was like, he upgraded from like, you know, the Toyota to the whatever the hell is better than a Toyota. I don't know.
A car.
Good car. A better car. He went from the car on wheels to the flying car this season.
Yeah, he went from a Toyota to the DeLorean.
There we go. I hope that's good. I hope that's a good comparison because I think.
Listen, I would hands down drive the DeLorean over a Toyota.
Me too.
If you wouldn't, I question you.
Yeah.
Or like Knight Rider, like Kit.
I want Kit. Oh my god, that's what I miss the most about conventions is going to like where all the cars are and like the Kit would always talk to you.
My brother used to have a Kit GPS, so like William Daniels would just tell you where you were going.
That's like the only reason to get a car. I can't think of any other reason. I don't know.
Just so you can have Kit.
Yes.
But yeah, well, also I think it helps that he was in the suit more this season too. But because I mean, I can't complain because he wasn't in the suit because I got to see him do Shakespeare, but because he was in King Lear when they did the first season. Good old, the topic of quarantine, King Lear, the mad King Lear. But he was also in the suit more this season because King Lear was not on Broadway.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see next season when he will inevitably not be doing anything else because I don't know. I think it's filming really soon, and we're all still in quarantine.
April? Don't hold me accountable to that, but I'm pretty sure it's April.
Springish.
Springtime for Mando.
A bunch of Star Wars stuff going into production this spring, so very excited. Invite me to the Kenobi set. I'm very excited.
I know Andor's already happening, but like I can swim across the pond.
Right, Andor's far. Like at least Kenobi's like in the country. Like if I started
in Boston,
now, I could get to Boston. Like.
That's that August Anna song, just like do 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 do, and it's us going to Boston for Kenobi.
Exactly. That's where I'd be. That's where I'd be going. So yeah, I'm excited for more Mando and more Star Wars stuff and more Mando in Star Wars stuff, which I hope will expand beyond the Mandalorian show. I'd love to see him in some other stuff.
Put Din Djarin in everything.
Put him in everything.
I love my himbo king.
Exactly. He doesn't know what's going on. Like the astute way to say it is like, oh well, he doesn't know what's happening, so he's kind of the point of view character. But the way I see it is he's just really dumb, so it's easy to watch Star Wars through his eyes.
He's literally just trying to find a preschool for his kid. That's his whole goal. And it's hilarious because I think it was like a Tumblr post that our friend Preeti put on Twitter where it was like all of this really fun stuff is happening around him and he's like, cool, whatever. I need to get my kid to school. And it's like you're like, did you not see there was a Jedi over there? And he's like, what? My son needs cookies. And you're like, no, but the Jedi are over there. And he's like, I don't care about that. Anyways, my ship got blown up. How am I getting from point A to point B? And it's great because you're like, this guy doesn't give a shit about anything other than the fact that he has a kid and he got to protect that kid.
Yep, exactly. And I just, they're not going to keep that kid away from him for very long.
No, listen,
it's not going to happen.
I'm here for
will not allow that.
No, and I'm here for the Pedro data songs. I'm trying to
combine
Disney, Renaissance, and Dad all in one.
Oh man, I don't know if there is certainly a Pedro songs going on, but Dilfasance kind of sounds like
Dilfasance sounds better than data songs.
Yeah.
Data songs sounds weird to me.
Data songs sounds like a really like silly party.
Like data songs.
Like there's a bunch of dads in the living room. They're all painting together. They're just
with wine. It's like wine painting night, but it's for dads.
Exactly.
So they have to have a separate name because it's a man, and they can't just call it wine night.
Yeah, exactly. Like Ben over there he's doing his monologue, and like Jack is like painting by number. He's trying.
And Jeff's making sure everyone has wine.
Exactly.
Yes, perfect.
Data songs. But this is definitely a Dilfasance. So
yes. Dilfasance is perfect word. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know his life.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I don't know what he's up to.
I don't think there's anything else happening right now. Like, I don't know the guy personally. I just know what's in Deadline. So
he posted some story where he was wearing a mask with some Fendi glasses. I liked those glasses.
Good for him. Good to know he's staying safe. That's very nice.
As long as wear a mask.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we there's like something like a show structure that is involved with these episodes, but for the most part, I just like talking to Rachel about this stuff. So, every once in a while you'll get a random header, but we may just like roll into stuff because why not? Because every once in a while we enjoy going on tangents.
The first time I saw the GIF, I say GIF, and if that gets me canceled, oh well. Like, that's the first time I saw the GIF that accompanied that, and oh boy, I don't know what it was. I don't know how I would use it in any other context, but I like it.
Yeah, I was really looking. So for anyone who's listening on audio, I put up little cards every once in a while, like to like show stuff. So I'll always try to explain them to you. But our tangent card is a thing that says tangent, and it's Pedro Pascal squeezing bananas in his hands. Just squeezing them and screaming, and I just thought it was really, really fitting because I understand that on a deep level. Sometimes you have bananas in your hands and you just gotta,
Yeah, I love to squeeze. I couldn't even get the sentence out of my mouth. Also, I like that we started this, and I kept being like, I gotta make sure I can ask her if we're swearing, and then I just haven't given a fuck the entire time. Done it anyway.
No, our uploads will be the PG-13 and up, or whatever the restrictions are. So
it was just funny because I was like, LOL, I'm gonna make a sex joke about bananas, and I couldn't get it out of my mouth.
We are two.
Oh no, I just double. Wait, I just double.
We are two grown humans on a podcast about Pedro Pascal. Like, I feel like no matter what we do, it's gonna get horny. So.
Probably.
Parents, I'm sorry. Like, usually I do try to make
my worst culprit of it.
Exactly. Well, yeah, you're not. Wait, I'm just saying, like, the people who are used to listening to my podcast with their kids, this one's just for you.
Yeah,
it's for you. It's not for little Billy. I'm so sorry.
I will say, I was like, I kept trying to remember, be like, bring up this story. I recently watched Triple Frontier with my mom because I was like, listen, Mom, these are boys that you like, I like, let's watch it. She made fun of me the entire time I was home. I was home for 2 months about Pedro Pascal, and she refused to give a shit.
Oh no!
She has watched Game of Thrones, and I remember her texting me about him. And a fan, this was in like 2016, because she caught up in 2016. But a fan responded, "Hey, he likes looking at tweets. You should tag him," and tagged him in the response that was a text message from me and my mother about him. Thank God he did not see it. But I was like, okay. Anyways, there's a point to this. So this time around, she's been ignoring me talking about him, even though I'm like, no, Mom, you know who Pedro Pascal is. Like, you know who he is. She's like, I know. I'm like, you've seen him in shit. We just watched Wonder Woman. Like, she would come in and I'm watching Narcos. Like, she's seen the dude. We put up Triple Frontier. First of all, Oscar Isaac comes up, and her quote was, he's just so cute. And then, like, that was the whole movie. That's all she talked about. Was shocked that it was Ben Affleck. She loves Charlie Hunnam because of Sons of Anarchy, so she was like, great, I'm into the film. I was like, okay, Mom. But fucking Frankie Catfish Morales rolls up, and this woman looks me dead in the face and goes, that's the guy from Game of Thrones. And I was like, I swear to God, I literally told you that when I was watching The Mandalorian. I was like, oh, that's the guy from Game of Thrones. And she goes, no, that's a mask. I just walked away. And I was like, great. But so it took Triple Frontier for my mom to realize that who I was talking about was Oberon Martell, despite the fact that I told her as much. Kids, your parents don't listen to you when you talk. That's the moral of my story.
They're not listening at all. Not at all. Nope. You can give them something. Sorry.
Especially when you're talking about fictional characters.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. See, parents, aren't you glad I told you not to let your children listen to this?
I'm giving them the truth. Letting them know the truth.
Yeah, exactly. No, my parents have never made fun of me for Pedro stuff, but they also like they're not involved to a degree in my interests anymore, but they used to be, and that's how I got to where I am today. So I'm thankful for them, I guess. But
I mean, I do feel bad for my mom because she worked in fashion. She's very different minded. She thinks differently than me and my brother, who like obsess over things and watch these things over and over again, and we know everything about them. And like him and I can go on these like weird tangents of theories that we have for shows, like because I was home when Mando was airing, like him and I were like, oh my god, oh, what that means, and my poor mother is just sitting there like, and his wife is not as bad as we are, but like somewhat bad. And so she would like every once in a while have something to say. It's just me and my brother were like yelling things at each other with love. And so my poor mom has like, she calls them my obsessions, which they're just the actors that I like. Once my problem is I like filmographies. So I like pick an actor and I'm like, I want to watch this filmography. And so all I'm doing is watching their stuff. So it's all I'm thinking of. And so like she is beyond done with me 90% of the time. And which is why I filmed a video where it's like when you're the single kid and it's her just making fun of me for talking about, and I was like, oh, you can make fun of me a little, and she just gets mean. And I was like, oh, I mean, I did this to myself. I told her to go ahead.
I remember that one. That was painful. But you know what? She's a hilarious lady, I gotta say.
I'm glad she doesn't know how podcasts work. Oh, sorry. Here's I guess. I was trying to get something to drink and it clicked.
It's all
my Scorpio candle, but whatever.
Oh, Scorpio, that's my moon. How nice.
I'm a Scorpio and I'm a Virgo rising and a Sagittarius moon.
There you go. I am a Pisces sun, a Scorpio moon, and a Gemini rising. So I don't know what that means.
Pisces? I'm surrounded by Pisces and Aries. I don't know why. I think it's because apparently you guys are life and I'm death. That's what someone told me.
You know, I just try to roll with it. I just know I'm a fish, and maybe one day I'll grow into a special, awesome, very terrifying Gyarados. You know, I'm still in my Magikarp stage. You know, just getting there.
You said, I know I'm a fish.
Speaking of fish, today
I love our tangent section, which is clearly us just chit-chatting.
It's time to talk about fish.
Time to talk about fish. I'm terrified of sharks.
Today, our movie of the week, because I feel like if I don't want you to do it right now, we're not going to get there. Our movie of the week is Triple Frontier, as you may have just seen by the giant cue card. I'm very excited about talking about this movie, but I will say, like, to your mom's credit, Oscar Isaac is very cute in this film.
Yeah, he is.
When I watched it for the first time, I was watching with my friend who was also named Kat, and like that was the very first thing we noticed was the fit of Oscar Isaac's jeans in this movie.
Like, she
was like, is the costume designer up for an Emmy here? Because everyone is in very well-fitted clothes. Like,
yeah, it's. I mean, I'll admit, I'm getting that patch that Catfish wears on his hat. I'm gonna make a hat. I don't care. YOLO.
Yeah.
It's 2021. I'm not wearing it anywhere.
He made baseball caps really cool, you know? Like I want a fish cap. But yeah.
Everyone in this movie is hot. It's upsetting.
Yeah, it is very upsetting. It's just like a bunch of hot dads going out into the jungle to try and get
someone. I was so worried. Here's where I got worried. I mean, I'm just jumping head first.
Oh, no. We did talk about Pedro is prone to death.
Yes, and so for context, if you didn't want to watch the over 2 hour long movie known as Triple Frontier, Pedro Pascal plays Frankie Catfish Morales. Mm-hmm. I know his last name is Morales because I looked it up because I knew his name was Frankie and they called him Catfish. I'm 90% sure they don't ever say last names other than oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Is his last name Pope?
Actually, I don't know. I
I'm
thought that
assuming
like,
that
they
he would
chose
be.
him and that like they just called him Santiago like because it was his last name, but Santiago is also a first name.
Yeah, that's why I was like, and they called him Pope, so I was like, okay, well, is that his last name? Like, this movie does a real bad job of being like, my name, other than like Charlie Hunnam, I think his name is clear
Ben?
because
Yeah.
no, Benny is
No, it's not.
Garrett Hedlund. No, here's how you can tell where I give a shit. Couldn't tell you Charlie Hunnam's name, despite the fact that he is introduced in the beginning of this movie with his full name because he's speaking at this thing. Couldn't tell you his name.
Nope.
And don't remember what Ben Affleck's name is. He was just Ben Affleck. Like, I don't even think I named Charlie Hunnam as anything. I was just like, Jack. I think I called him Jax. Jack. Who cares?
Oh my god. No, there's like a whole segment after Ben Affleck totally dies in this movie where all they do is say his name. And I'm like, what was it? Like,
well,
Dan?
Benny. No. Tim? No. Because
his last name was like Red Fly. I remember that.
I don't think anyone's last name is Red Fly.
No, his last name is Red Fly. I remember that because I remember seeing that name and going like,
I'm Googling. So if you see me on my phone, I'm Googling.
Yeah, I think
Frontier.
Red Fly
William. So Tim wasn't terrible. I said Tim. His name is William Ironheart. Okay.
Oh.
Tom. Okay, here was my problem. He was Will. Tom was Ben Affleck. Mm-hmm. And then, okay, they gave everyone full names that are never said. Or if they are, I missed it. So it's William Ironheart. Excuse me, that's Riri Williams. How dare you? William Ironheart Miller. Mm-hmm. Tom Redfly. That is Ben Affleck's nickname. Mm-hmm. Great. I don't know his last name.
Davis.
It has ... Yeah. Let me make it bigger. Tom Redfly Davis. Pedro Pascal's character, who I know's full name, is so long that it is ... but it's Francisco Catfish Morales. Mm-hmm. And then Oscar Isaac is Santiago Pope ... So hold please. I have to figure this out.
I know. It's Garcia.
They never say any of this. Oh wait, actually, I think it's on his shirt at some point, probably, because he has tactical gear on and shit. But and then Ben Miller, then he has no nickname. He has nothing fun.
I feel like he was the younger brother, so maybe he wasn't like in their military unit or something.
Okay, well, because my thing I want to talk about was why are they friends? So they're all in a military unit, but from what I could tell, the brother both was and was not, and I'm confused by that.
Yeah,
my confusion has knocked books over in my bedroom.
Oh my god! Yeah, I honestly like the first time I watched it was this second round of watching this movie where like the connection between them actually made sense to me. I was like, how does Oscar Isaac know all these people? Like, I kind of got the gist that they were military buddies, but that they, I was able to understand that they were a unit. But I feel like Ben was like, I don't know, maybe he wasn't like in it or he wasn't old enough at the time. But of course they came home and
Ben Miller. Sorry, that took me so long to realize you were not talking about Ben Affleck because I've called him Ben Affleck throughout that whole movie. I was like, right. Ben Affleck was.
No, yeah. So I will say, the one thing I really noticed about this film when it came to Benny Garrett Hedlund, right?
Yeah, that's Garrett Hedlund. Yeah. Tron himself.
Yeah.
Tron Legacy himself.
Tron Legacy, the man. He sure got hit a lot in this movie. Like I'm pretty sure
he took a fighter, UFC fighter that was information we didn't need, but then also was fun. So I was fine with it.
It was. I mean, I love a good ring fight. They bring that into Mando too, which was cool. But like, yeah, he got shot a couple, like more than once. Like, because I remember I remember multiple Benny scenes where it's like, oh no, I'm hit. Oh no, I'm hit. And I don't know, maybe it was both.
He got hit in the shoulder. Yeah, it was both brothers. So he got hit in the shoulder right
confused.
before Ben Affleck dies, I believe.
Yeah,
And then I almost said
Charlie
Garrett Charlie.
Garrett Hunt.
Ironheart gets shot in the side when
that's what it is.
I believe the drug dealer they're trying to get emerges from his safe house thing in the wall. So it's not a house, a safe room in the wall.
Yeah.
I believe that's the guy they were going for. Like, that is not clear to me if that is the man that they're trying to get.
It's him, but they show him like once and very fleetingly before this shot, and he's not very well lit either. So like when the informant goes and like runs through the house and drops off the money and stuff, she has him sign the book or look at the book, and then the bookkeeper stamps it. But yeah, so you see, I think it was something with an L. You see him like all of
it's not Larea. It's not. I have
it's like with 5 letters.
Yeah, I have the streets of Laredo in my head. The Rio.
Okay. No, he has a full name actually.
He has a full name too.
The character's name, played by Reynaldo Gallegos, is Gabriel Martin Lorea.
Okay, so I'm right with Lorea. Yeah. But I didn't know he had a full ass. That's the thing, is none of these characters, like, the only reason that I knew his name was Frankie was I watched things with the subtitles on because I want to like see what I want to screen grab and make memes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, it said Frankie side, so I'm assuming it's Catfish because he's talking. But like,
yeah, Catfish and Santiago were like the only characters whose names I like constantly remembered throughout the film, and like maybe that's
because where was our interest?
My interest was in Pedro and in Oscar Isaac's genes, so you know.
Okay, so going slightly back, because the minute I said "oh no," but also was like "I love you, I would die for you," was when Pedro shows up, Frankie. I'll call my character name. I'll do the right thing. So Frankie shows up, and they're all like broing out. This movie is a bro movie, and if you like those, you'll love it. Because I love bro movies. I think they're fun. And that is what this movie is. But they get there. He slaps Oscar Isaac on the ass as a greeting. He's like, hello, and just slapped him on the ass. And then they're talking about this thing they're going to do, but don't give any real context throughout the whole movie. It's just like vaguely like, here's what's happening. We're going to do this. There's a bunch of money. And you're like, okay, I guess I'm on board. I have no idea what is happening, but sure. And so, because I remember I watched that scene multiple times because he sits down and within 2 seconds, Santiago just starts pitching this idea to him. They have just seen each other for the first time in, I don't know, a couple of years, or I don't know what their deal is. He's in, I don't even know what country Oscar Isaac was in. They just call it his mother's homeland throughout the movie, and I'm like, okay, but what country is it? You've not told me. It's
supposed to be Brazil, at least the country they end up in. I don't know about the first time around, since it's Lorea's people. Yeah, it's all in Brazil, but it was very confusing.
Like, I don't remember if it had a title card. That's on me. Like, I didn't read that. I was looking at Oscar Isaac sleeping.
They were
listening to music,
and then they went and dropped the girl and her brother off in Peru, and then they went over the Andes.
Yeah. The Triple Frontier is a real place. I had to look this up, but where I was like, oh no, I would die for you, is like when he's like, I don't know, man, I got a kid now. Got a kid on the way, and the lady doesn't let me doing this stuff, and I'm like, protect him. Don't make him go and fly your plane. He just told you he doesn't have a license anymore. What are you doing? Let him live his happy family life.
Exactly. He's done with it. Like that. Let's just cancel the whole movie and follow Catfish back home to his happy family.
What is this little family doing? Are they cool? Are they chilling? Like, what's up?
What are they up to? Why not? You know,
Catfish. Does she call him Catfish? Does she call him Frankie? What's the deal?
does the kid call him Dadfish? Who
Ooh,
knows? Who knows?
I hope they have a cat and it's called Fishy.
I would love that. Oh man. Yeah, no, I was very invested in in his character from the start because one, it was Pedro, and also I just thought like I love the characters that are like the solid ground of the group. I find them very endearing because I am very much not that character. So I like them the most because they're usually the types who like pull my kind of person out of trouble.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, look, 90% of the movie, I don't know what's going on, but it's
Mhm.
fine. I don't even care that I don't know what's going on. I'm like, what are these boys saying to each other? Like, what are you saying right now? And that's what makes this movie so fun is like, I don't know what you're doing, why you're doing it. No motivation is clear to me other than the military fucked us over. Let's steal this money for ourselves. That is all I got from it. And I say, okay. And then I look at what they all said to each other throughout this movie and said, great, this is
Yeah.
perfect.
Watching with the subtitles helped a lot when it came to actually figuring out what they were doing because I was very confused the first time around. I was like, is he a cop? Is he like an agent, like commissioned with the cops or something like that? And then he gets to that part where he's like, "Fuck the cops, fuck the military," and then I was on board. And so I was very confused. But yeah, it looks like it's just like four ex-military dudes going in to take down a bad guy and take all that bad guy's money, and they're all about it, all of them. I mean, Ben Affleck's character drops his kid off at school and then is like, let's pull a heist.
Yeah. And yeah, Tess should, but I think he said something about the girls. So did he have other children that we just did not meet?
Yeah, that's the other thing is that like I assumed like the whoever Molly was is like his ex.
Yeah, who wouldn't let him into the house.
Yeah. Apparently like he has like two children, and yeah, so I was very confused when it came to like the details of his life or why I should care about him. So that's why unfortunately I breathed a very huge sigh of relief when it was him who died and not any of my favorites.
How about when he died to a bullet straight through his forehead and Charlie Hunnam goes, "Let me see," as if he's gonna try and save him from a bullet through the forehead.
It's so ridiculous. Like it just like
It's
are
just
you
like
really
he's
that
so
bad at
dead.
your job that you went to South America to get shot? Like
Yeah, like
that bad at it.
you're so bad at being a realtor.
You couldn't have just found another profession? Like this is your only skill.
But also, like, he's the reason that everything that happened in this movie happened because what did I say his name was? Tom? Tom
Tom,
was, Tom was he wanted all the money. First of all, this was not your mission. It was Santiago's mission from the get-go. And then he was like, oh, we're too overweight already. You have to leave those two behind, the girl and her brother.
Yeah.
And Santiago's like, no, I told them we're getting them over. Like, we're not doing that.
This was also after Tom went like above and beyond to keep trying to take money out of the house when it was like, no, we're about to get shot. We need to leave.
One of my favorite moments in this whole movie is in that house when like they're all shooting at Loreo and Frankie busts up into the room and he's like, "What are we shooting at in here?" And he just like has the gun, and it does not look like he could shoot anyone with how he's holding this gun. Like he's like holding it like down on the side, and he's just like, "What is guys?" He's like, "What are we shooting at?" No, but it's just they're all just a bunch of hot messes, and I love them. They're like no one knows what they're doing, even though they're the best. Like they know, but they don't. And so they're just in this mess, and they're like, "I don't know, man. Like go over there," and then like. The reason Ben Affleck dies is because they like have to crash land because it was too heavy, despite the fact, like, here's what I don't get. Catfish told them we're not going to make it over the Andes. Like, we have to go over the Andes to get to the ocean. And he goes, we're not going to make it. Ben Affleck goes, we can make it. And he goes, okay, fine. Like, and he just like lets it go. And I'm like, why wouldn't you be like, no, I'm the pilot. I'm telling you we're not going to make it.
Like, I have never been in the military, and I don't intend to. But I feel like there's a degree of respect because what I got this time around and actually understood was that Tom was their captain.
Yeah.
So even though it was Santiago's mission, Santiago's still like, he's still like bent to the will of who their captain was, because that was their captain in the military. And so they have like a huge degree of respect for him. But of course, their captain was a mess. And so he just kept leading them into bad situations,
Yeah, they shut up a whole village, and he goes, we paved it over. They get $1 million. And I'm like,
I was so mad. Like, the second that, who was it? I forgot who. I think it was Charlie Hunnam's character, or maybe Garrett Hedlund's. One of them asked, like, who shot first? And like both, like, Ben Affleck's character is the first one to go like, oh, I don't know. And so you see Santiago go like, oh, I don't know, to go with him, even though it was totally Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Like,
well, because Frankie was trying to tell them that he thought someone had a gun, but he's like, they can't hear me.
Yeah.
That's my impression. They can't hear me. Oh no, she has AirPods in. She can't hear me. Well, and then like, I just think there's so much that I'm like, I don't know why this is happening. That's fun. Like, one of my favorite lines is Garrett Hedlund wants a fire. And Ben Affleck's like, no, we can't have a fire. They're going to see it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, first of all, who's looking for you in the mountains other than the village that you just shot up? Like, no one was looking for you. They thought you flew a plane and that you crashed. Like, I think you'd be okay, but whatever. I don't know logistics. And so like Garrett Hedlund catches a whole thing of money on fire and goes, this is my fuck you money. And just burned at least like $100,000.
Yeah. I love that scene. I love it. And you know what? In the end, it's not because they made the fire that Ben Affleck dies. It's because Ben Affleck shot somebody's uncle.
Exactly. Like,
and that nephew
Ben Affleck shot an uncle and expected people to be okay with it.
Exactly, dude. There are like a lot. The one thing that like really stood out to me with this movie and made me feel a little weird was just like the amount of like children that witness murder and the amount of teenagers that are murdered. Like,
yeah. Well, they roll up and then, oh, Frankie, they're like in the car and there's a teenager. And so like no one else wants to kill the teenager. They're like, hey man, we're going to give you some money. Like, we weren't here. And Frankie's like, that guy saw us. We have to kill him. And so then like, they're all like, we're not going to kill the teenager. And he goes, and he says something before it. And then he goes, I'm fucking killing everybody. Or I'm fucking killing people. And I'm like, wow, you guys radicalized Frankie in the wrong direction.
Exactly.
He was like a good dad. He was like, man, my kid. And then now he's like, I'm going to fucking kill people by the end of the movie.
Well, man, honestly, like I know that everyone gave all that money to the Red Fly Family Fund or whatever, which is super weird that the family fund is named after his like code name and not him.
Yeah.
Little confusing.
Well, maybe it's because his last name is Davis. Like, his name is Tom Davis. So it's like, yeah, well, which Tom Davis in the world are you honoring?
Yes, exactly. So and I was just like, you know what? Frankie didn't owe him any of that. Frankie should have just kept his money. He has a family, you know?
They should have named it after the donkey that Frankie had died, that Tom laughed at. That whole scene was funny to me because it's like the donkey falls. Frankie's like, no, the donkey. Charlie Hunnam and Garrett Hedlund, I believe, are like, oh no, this donkey died. Ben Affleck starts laughing, and Oscar Isaac gets so mad that he's laughing about the death of a donkey, and he's like, it was a living thing, man.
I'm just like, I'm so glad that it like disappears into smoke and like
the money.
Because I would not have been able to like I saw a lot of death in this movie, but I would not have been able to look at a dead donkey. It really would have messed me up. Like,
well, then, because I watched with the subtitles, there's a part of this movie where like they're talking about like, oh, we can't use the donkeys anymore, like they're not gonna get over this mountain. So Frankie is chasing them off, and it literally just says like sheep Coo, Frankie, yeah! And he's like yelling at them, trying to like chase them off. And I'm like, this is the funniest like dude action movie I have ever watched. There's just so many hidden little gems.
I just love the way Pedro runs in this, like
arms in the air, just like
doing this like weird crab run after the donkeys, and it just made me laugh so hard. And I knew it was inappropriate because like people had died and stuff, but
there's like this. I would love if all action movies were this genre, which is like the things that they're saying are golden if you are listening to them, like, and just like, what the hell are they saying? Like, it's like, I don't care about 90% of this plot. I care what the hell these dudes are saying to each other, and like, that's it.
Yeah, like overall, it's just a movie about like the connection between them and how like how greed ruins it, basically.
Yeah, and it ends. And it ends in a really pretty way where they're all like, yeah, this guy is greedy, but we're not. And like they give up all their shares to his family and Tess and the other daughter that no one knows the name of. And I like that. And then Pedro Pascal's in this nice little bird shirt. I don't know what kind of birds they are. I'm assuming they're seagulls. I don't know. If anyone has the shirt, I would like it. But if you could just tell me what those birds are. They're a bird.
Yeah, it's a bird-shaped creature on his shirt. And I really like the send-off between him and Santiago too, because when they say they're gonna see each other again, you know they mean it.
And he smacks him with a passport in the head.
It's adorable.
I feel like they were basically like, hey, you two, here are your lines. Do whatever. And they literally were like, all right, we're gonna be ourselves and like fuck around with each other.
Exactly.
Like, the ass slap and slapping him, they're hitting in the face with a passport. I was like, you cannot convince me that was written in the screenplay. Sorry. If it was, kudos to you for casting them. But like, there is no way that was like, he slaps him in the face with the passport.
I just love it. Like their chemistry is something that like I'm so sad that we don't have more opportunities, or more opportunities haven't been made yet for it, because like, you know, they're both in the Star Wars franchise, but they're like 2 decades apart, and like, you know,
if Poe Dameron could have rolled out with Din Djarin, I would be a dead bitch.
I'd be dead on sight.
I'd be a dead bitch.
Dead on sight. I can't deal with it.
I mean, I watched their little Triple Frontier Wired interview whenever I'm sad. And that's what I like to do. And I think of Pedro Pascal calling Oscar Isaac Sam the Eagle frequently.
Yes, yeah. And the what was it? The ear loogie? What are those? I don't know what those are called.
Wet willies.
Oh, wet willies. There we go. I remember.
Yeah, I hate them. I
remember everything about that freaking interview, and it was amazing. And
he goes, the best is when he's like, "I'm 5'11". Is this what people are Googling?" he's like, "This is what people care about," and I'm like, "Sadly, yes."
Yeah. Sometimes I need to know if you're taller than another person who happens to be in the same franchise as you. You know, like
who's taller, man?
No,
I gotta do some math.
I have to see if the Star Wars version of you is the same height as the normal version of you, because Star Wars notoriously lies about that stuff. They're like, oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi is 5'11". Sorry, Ewan McGregor is not 5'11". Or no, they're like Obi-Wan Kenobi is 6 feet, and Ewan McGregor is like pushing 5'10". So I just have to
be like, I need to know how many inches I'm being lied to about directly. But yeah, I love this movie. It's nonsense. It's fun. They're just a bunch of boys on a journey.
Yeah. A bunch of boys having fun on a journey.
And if you put Pedro Pascal and Oscar Isaac in a movie, I will watch it.
And you know, there's morals in this. It's don't choose money over rational thought and the well-being of your friends and the well-being of donkeys, or else you'll shot in the head.
Listen, if you laugh at a donkey, you're gonna get shot in the head.
He got shot, and I was like,
you laugh at a jackass, you become the jackass.
Yes, exactly. And with that, I feel like we need to move to Stash of the Week. It's Stash of the Week. I don't know. I don't have intro music for this, but for this
stash. This is from Chicago.
I like that. I was singing Chicago in the shower like 2 days ago.
The name or the stash on everybody's lips is gonna be Pedro.
I love that.
Thank you. I have a degree in performance.
I don't, but I was in drama class in middle school, and it was super fun. We did cabaret. That was not fun. That was kind of weird. Anyway, Stash of the Week. Did you come prepared with a Stash of the Week?
I did. I came overly prepared, but you made me pick one, so I picked one.
I love it.
Should I explain the 4 that I went through?
Oh, please do. Please do.
So I decided for the Stash of the Week, I was going to go with my tried and true love of my life, Javier Peña. But that meant I had to pick a stash. And so my options were, and I'm going to leave my 4th is the one I have picked. But so they were Javier Peña getting intel, aka sleeping with a woman on his couch, where he's shirtless and just has his jeans kind of unbuttoned. It was Javier Peña. Was it the episode where I don't want to say spoilers for Narcos, so I'll say where a character killed a kid and it upset Javi, and so he had sex with an informant at the end of the episode. And then it was Javi being upset because said person who killed the kid then died the next episode, and so he was drinking in a dark blue shirt, holding a glass of whiskey. And then my choice, which is Javier Peña in the pink shirt, where he's running and sweating a bunch.
That is a really good. Oh man, I just found like a very dramatic photo of this running shot. Actually,
yeah, it is. I can narrate it if I need to. So for the listeners, imagine if you will, Javier Peña, who has an aversion to buttons, never has a shirt fully buttoned. I don't think it. Sorry, she just showed the picture.
He's a rush.
He's running. I don't think he's worn a buttoned-up shirt throughout all of Narcos, but he's running. He's sweating. His shirt is like not unbuttoned where a normal shirt would be. It is like 1, 2, 3. It's like 4 buttons undone, which I feel like is excessive. I don't know. I'm not a dude, but I feel like 4 buttons is a lot. And he's running, but it is a freeze frame of him running, and he looks angry, and his stash is on point.
Okay, there we go. Oh wow, that's right over our faces. Look at that. Okay,
yeah, we are Javier Peña getting intel from a lady on his couch.
Yeah.
Actually, that was when she was leaving. I know that scene very well. That's when she's putting her clothes on. We have to get in. Oh, I went the wrong way. This is so fun for listeners that we are going on opposite sides of this Javier Peña gif. Hey, listeners. So sorry.
I put up the shirtless gif from me shirtless scene she was just describing.
The first shirtless scene, because there's 2 shirtless scenes.
I love that about Narcos. We just kept popping up on the side of it like cartoon characters. So it's just like, hey, woo.
I think that was the scene where I was like, oh, I'm gonna like Narcos, because I have to watch it at night, because I know a lot of the time I'll put shows on while I'm working, and I'm like, I'm paying attention, but I'm like just listening a lot of the time. Yeah. Well, I took French in school and not Spanish, so I have no idea what's happening if I'm not reading. And so I was like, okay, Narcos will be when I go to bed, put on Narcos. So happy dreams to me, I guess. Watching a show about, I mean, I made my niece is 4 months old and she watched Narcos.
I love that.
She didn't
Aw.
know. She was watching. She was like, I don't know who these two dudes are. I'm like, what up?
She was just having a good old time. Okay. Well, my favorite stash, and
Yes.
I
What is your stash?
actually uploads. It's actually a fairly new stash. I picked nope, that did not upload. I picked the stash from We Can Be Heroes. It's an action stash, and I was very enamored with Pedro's character, whose name I don't remember right now.
Marcus Morena.
Thank you. Yes, and it was.
I don't know why that's in my head and never gonna go away, but it's there.
He just has this like natural way of being so much fun. Like, and of course, I think it was just because with this movie, like he was also with Robert Rodriguez, who he loves working with. And so that's why you can like tell when Pedro is like super excited to be in a show. I think like he's always present, always a good actor, but you can tell when he like got up that morning and was like, I'm gonna make We Can Be Heroes. And so or in a film. So yeah, so I just threw up a little gif of him raising his hand and saying hi mom in the film. But I like this particular stash because it's a little more full than his usual. It's like a little heavier, and like it almost creases into the beard this time, which it was kind of cool to see him with all that facial hair. So that's why it's my pick this week.
Listen, they're making a new Spy Kids. If it is not Marcus Morena and Missy, I'm gonna riot.
I will
because when I interviewed Robert Rodriguez, he laughed at me because I said when I saw the pictures from We Can Be Heroes, all I wanted was a Spy Kids reboot with Pedro Pascal as the Antonio Banderas role. And he was like, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, I'm Italian, like Carla. I can be the mom. Those kids, his mom was Italian. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
My 9-year-old ass was like, what's going on?
I can get down with that idea. And I do want to see more of this franchise develop just because it's like lived with me my whole life. And so it's like another one of those things that like, I've always known of Shark Boy and Lava Girl and all this stuff and Spy Kids, and like growing up and getting to see Pedro Pascal like join all of my favorite things. Just kind of a nice gift in this otherwise bleak world. Gift.
Yeah.
A gift.
You're like a gift.
A gift in this beautiful world. No, I have plenty of beautiful Pedro gifts. But yeah, a gift. So that's my stash of the week pick.
Wait, what was my song? The stash on every lips is gonna be Pedro's.
I love it. Oh man,
I hated that I whisper sang it. Yeah. I was like, the stash on Pedro's. I hate myself.
Who said that murder isn't an art? We gotta find somebody to make that into a theme, and so that then I can play that whenever Stash of the Week comes up.
I would love if you guys
shout out to any of you musicians.
I'll record it clear as day for you and not whisper sing it into the microphone if it helps.
Yes, I think it would be really good to have that as an intro. I think though that I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover.
Yeah, we have to rate Triple Frontier.
That's right. And I did not have my graphics prepared for this.
It's okay. We can just start it now in a heart. So imagine at some point that there will be graphics. But let me explain. So it's fun to rate movies. I love to give all movies that when it's not for work 5 stars because there's something to love in every film. Yeah. But instead of stars, because that's boring, we decided it should be something specific to Pedro Pascal, to which I said that Fleetwood Mac shirt he wears all the time. And Katrina, being the lovely, lovely friend she is, went, yeah, that'd be fun. So we're going to rate, unless there's something very specific. So, like, obviously, like, when we do Kingsman, we could do, like, his whip, whatever.
Yes. Yeah, whip cracks or, like, hats or something. I like that.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's going to be the Fleetwood Mac shirts. So we're going to judge these movies based. Is it a 5-point scale, a 10-point scale? What are we thinking?
I've already laid down 5 t-shirts here, so I guess it's a 10-point scale.
Okay. So wait, okay. It's a 10-point scale?
Yeah.
How
many t-shirts?
How many t-shirts? So I guess if I'm doing my bit where every movie, unless it morally offends me, which those exist, there's 2 that I refuse to give scores to on Letterboxd. I guess then it would be 10 Fleetwood Mac shirts for me.
4,
right?
Is that 10 right there? I don't know. Wait, nope, that's 10. Boom! Rachel's rating is 10 Fleetwood Mac
shirts.
It's just emojis right now, but there are definitely
10. Stevie Nicks is on there.
Yeah.
And oh my God, my brain just stopped working. And I was like, who's anyone else? And then remembered Lindsey Buckingham because of Bill Hader. But pretend Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks are on there.
I love it. Yes, I think I might be like a little more judgmental just because like I feel like Ben Affleck's character really annoyed me, but you know the movie had to have an antagonist.
Oh, she with shots fired.
I will give it a hot 8.5 shirts. For a little 0.5 at the end of my emojis. Yeah, I'll give it an 8.5. I like that. That's where I'm at.
That works.
I have Fleetwood Mac. One of them is a crop top.
Yeah. We're gonna do that's when it's a crop top, that's our half rating.
Yes. I need more pictures of that shirtless Pedro Pascal now so that I can edit a crop top onto him. We'll work on that after the show. This post-production talk.
You just want me to screen grab Narcos for you? Just be like, here's Javier Pena. I should clarify, this is never me talking about the very real man, Javier Pena, who took down Pablo Escobar. I'm not talking about him ever. So sorry to that man. You did great work, but I'm not talking about you.
Yes. All respect to the Pena family.
Much respect. I'm specifically talking about Pedro Pascal, Javier Pena. And then when I talk about Steve Murphy, same deal. I'm talking about Boyd Holbrook.
Oh my God. Oh, I love it.
And Hot Pablo. That show really fucked with your head.
That really did. Oh man, that was what a trip.
Well, guys,
I've had so much fun with this first episode. So like, I hope you have, Rachel.
I've had so much fun doing my current favorite thing, which is just talking about Pedro Pascal properties.
It's a good way to live, in this world that we have and how harrowing it is. At least we have this, I'm glad.
At least we have the filmography of Pedro Pascal.
And so many TV shows. This is going to tide us over for so long.
I just ended up growling when I said his last name on accident. I could not tell you why I did that.
Well,
it was a weird sigh growl. I'm sorry.
Every once in a while, though, you just Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, I was like, Pascal. And I was like, why did I say it like that? I hate that. That was disgusting.
It's all right. I feel like this is the show that you can like do that on and get away with it.
Like weird side girls. I was like, whatever, it's fine.
Well, I am so happy that you folks have tuned in today. Thanks so much for listening to the first episode of Pascal Pod. Where can we find you across the internet, Rachel?
Well, on Twitter, it's Rachel Leishman.
Right.
On Instagram, there is an underscore. So it's Rachel _ Leishman. Because someone is harboring that handle and they don't use it. So I have to use the underscore because they're monsters.
Yep.
And then you can find my work on the Mary Sue. But Katrina, hey. Where can the people find you?
You guys can look for me anywhere on the internet if you look for Katrina. That's OHCATRINA. And then, of course, on this show and on my other show, Ito Banta Tambien, which, wow, I said tambien real weird. Ito Banta Tambien. Wow. Whoa, that was scary. I'm sorry. My mom possessed me for a minute. where I talk about pop culture with my friend Kayla from a Latinx point of view. And then, of course, find me on Twitter where I'm giving all sorts of opinions that are pissing people off every day.
I love it. I mean, I don't love it, but every time I tweet, someone, and by someone I mean some dumb dude, seems to be mad about it.
Always some guy. Like, I remember this week I was like, because Kevin Sorbo did something dumb, and I was like, every couple of weeks, Kevin Sorbo shows up to remind us that Xeno is better than Hercules. And like, it just got this overwhelming response that I wasn't like ready for, but it was really funny because everyone that was like trying to insult me was trying to insult my politics or the fact that I like insulted Kevin Sorbo. Like, almost no one disagreed that Xeno was the better show. So
they felt like, how dare you insult Hercules? But Xena also is the better show. You're right about that one.
Exactly. So I'm very excited to be back here. Whenever we decide to do this again, I don't think we've established a pace, but you know what? Stay tuned on Twitter, and we will keep you updated.
Yeah, it's gonna happen sooner rather than later. So just like stay tuned. Yeah. I don't know why I'm doing this accent, which sounds kind of like a jazz singer from the 1920s.
That Chicago thing is.
It's more like me going, "See here, buddy."
Hey, who's the popsicle?
Hey, you guys.
Exactly.
Lord help.
Gangster voice.
All right. The Italian in me jumped out.
Far out. So before Rachel starts making pasta on camera, I am going to go ahead and bid you all farewell. Thank you so much, Rachel, for coming up with this awesome show and inviting me.
Of course. Thank you for doing this with me. So it wasn't just me by myself.
Yeah. And we're going to have so many friends joining us. So stay tuned, everybody. And until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yay!
We did it.
Okay. I'm going to mark 111 as the end of our broadcast.
I think if you stop broadcasting, it'll keep us in the room.